You know, this first part of the rodeo, or first section, deals with the history of the parade. We have two parades each year, Friday and Saturday. This auction team has been pulled by the Bowen family from over by Vale, and we actually have the two of them are mounted, and they're in the right in back of us here also. As we go through this area here, it's basically history of the parade, and then we move to the committee itself. Individuals that have been participated in the parade and in the celebration, including a lot of Native Americans. There used to be hundreds of Native Americans which would come up to the rodeo every year. In fact, some would walk all the way from down by Pine Ridge on the reservation to get here. Historic photos, you know, the Teamsters, the people that have been on the committee, and that's Mr. Colburn there. He was one of the first chairmen of the days. And then this is a panorama, as you can see, of the 16th days of 76. Some of the participants back at that time. And the grandstands that you can see in the background are still the ones we use today. They were built by the Juso brothers, a couple of Finlanders, back in the 1930s, and it has been remodeled some or shored up some, but we're using the same grandstand that they have since the 1930s. Over here are panoramas of different years, contestants and people who participated in the days. This section over here is the rodeo section. Right here is actually some items I put together to show, you know, what's used by cowboys and in the rodeo. This area here is, you know, to honor or shows the various families who've participated over the years, and there have been a number of families like myself who the children and grandchildren and so forth take part, as well as others, the Roberts family, the Ripkema family, the Straub family, Burns, a lot of people have put in a lot of time over the years, and goes from one person on down to the other one in the family to take over, just like Jay and Jimmy have for myself. This year, we used to have chariot racing here in Deadwood. That's Art Nelson there. He was one of the best chariot racers, and we try and preserve most of the history that we can. For example, the rodeo, as part of the performance, includes the robbing of the Deadwood stagecoach and the killing of Wild Bill Hickok. They're both reenacted during the rodeo performance itself. Yeah, this area of the museum is to honor and display items regarding the various cowboys and world champion cowboys that have competed here in Deadwood. This saddle right here is the one which all around Saddle J won at the Badlands Circuit Rodeo. Photos of all of the world champions who have competed in Deadwood, represented Deadwood and South Dakota. This saddle was won by Coy Thompson, whose father Ted is on the committee, and both of them have been involved. He won. This is the Pendleton Steer Roping Championship, which he won. It's one of the bigger, in fact, probably the biggest next to Cheyenne steer roping in the country, and it was won by Coy Thompson. And like I say, his father has been heavily involved in the rodeo. Yeah, this area here highlights the clowns and bullfighters and contract acts that have performed for Deadwood over the years. Dwayne Reichert is one of them, Jerry Olson, and other clowns that were some of the best or were the best in the country at the time that also worked Deadwood or performed in Deadwood. This is a copy of, every rodeo has a barrel man. This is a barrel that was donated to us, as well as this bowl here. This bowl belonged to Birch Brothers over by Gillette, and it got a little bit lame, so they donated that bowl to us. Yeah, this area, like I say, highlights or honors the various bullfighters and barrelmen who worked Deadwood over the years. And they all like to come to Deadwood. This area here is displays the various events in rodeo, and has some photographs of cowboys in each of the events. The rough stock or bareback and bulls and saddle broncs on this side. This area here highlights the timed event cowboys, including the calf ropers, steer ropers, and bulldoggers or steer wrestlers, and barrel racers for the ladies. Bull riding photographs again, and for example, Donnie Gaze in these and some of the other, top bull riders in the rodeo game. This area here mainly shows how the rodeo grounds have progressed over the years with the grandstands. Actually, all of these tents and teepees that you can see in these two photographs were used by the Native Americans who still have some participation in the rodeo, but certainly not like they used to. A photograph here of two well-known old committeemen, Eddie Ripkema and Lou Keene, who were very instrumental in putting on the rodeo in some of the earlier years. Yeah, this area here was meant to show just some of the things that go on at a rodeo. For example, these are the list of the contestants, and some of the things that go on back behind the chutes, as well as up here. This is the old gong they used to use at the end of the 8-second ride. That would tell the contestant that the 8 seconds is up, that he's made the ride. And again, these are some of over the years, some of the highlights of people who have both contested or worked at the Days of 76 and as announcers, pickup men, stock contractors, and everybody else who it takes to put on a rodeo. We're about to enter the Clouser collection area, but the photograph here this is Dave Bald Eagle, who came to Deadwood every year for almost 100 years that we had it. He passed a few years ago, but he was a very influential Native American that helped put on the rodeo. And the person in the blue shirt and black hat is Don Clouser, who was a friend of Dave's and who collected, had an outstanding history collection, that part of which you can see here. This is, part of the Don Clouser collection. Don owned a business in Deadwood, a trading post in Deadwood. There's a photo of it here somewhere. But these are some of the items that he had collected over the years. He was a collector addict. He went all over the country trading and buying various Native American and other items that he actually displayed in his trading post in Deadwood for many, many years. This is our firearms room. Most of these rifles and pistols that you can see here were belonged to Don Clauser. We have a few of them that have been donated by other persons, but they're primarily all Don Clausers. And this is one of the outstanding rifle collections in this area also that Don had and that we acquired and display here now. This is one of the stagecoaches that we own and display. This one does not actually go up the street every year in the parade, but it has been worked on. But it's a replica of the stages that used to come from Cheyenne or Sidney, Nebraska, from up north by Medora, from actually east from Pierre and Fort Pierre. These revolvers and pistols we just acquired from Lester Nielsen from Rapid City in the last few years. And all of these pistols are the ones that are used every year, both by horseback people in the parade and the opening ceremonies, the killing of Wild Bill Hickok and the robbing of the Deadwood stage. But Lester, a couple of years ago, donated these to Deadwood, but then he comes in during the days and takes them all out, and they're used in all these events and then brought back in here. And we sure are glad and we want to thank Lester for donating all of these pistols and revolvers. There's a lot of history in them too. Okay, this is the room or the area where the over 50 horse-drawn vehicles that we talked about earlier are housed. And most of them do go up the street during the two parades during the days of 76. And we have a whole array of different kinds of wagons and stages. And for example, this one right over here, this first one actually was a wagon that would be used for hauling goods and that sort of thing, like we can see over here. But it was mainly for hauling groceries and that sort of thing. And then this would be one of the covered wagons. These are some of the old fire hose carts, and that were used back in the old days. And they go up the street. In fact, there used to be a guy that would hang on to these and go round and round up the street. This is an old fire wagon. It was used for years and years, and I'm not sure just how we acquired it, but it's I think one of the few that you can see anywhere in this area. And over on this side are some of the more fancy wagons that people would use to go to various events and so forth. This is a chuck wagon, of course, and it's one of the bigger ones that I've seen, but it was used for the cook and would furnish all the meals for all of the people that were on the trail. And it's like I say, it goes up the street every year with the rest of the wagons. We have several hearses that are in very good condition and so forth. The white one was used for the ladies and the black one for the men. And this is actually I think one of the better displays anywhere in this area with regard to the wagons used for funerals. We'd sure like to invite everybody to come to the museum and to look at all of the items that we've looked at here today and displayed. It is, in my opinion, the best museum of displays of the Old West and as well as the rodeo itself, but just the old Western items that were used by everybody. So come on down to the Days of 76 Museum. It's open daily from 9 to 5. We'd sure like to have you come look.